Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Critical Mass. Well, have you seen Trolls World Tour? The blockbuster hit movie that's changing the industry for the... Yeah, no, it wasn't a very good movie. It's not very good, but it can actually change the way we might view movies in the future, or even change that we don't have theaters left anymore to even go see movies. And we're going to tell you what we're talking about right after this. So right off the bat, it's AMC Theaters that is mad at Universal. And what they decided to do with Trolls was go to a direct video streaming, cutting out the theater release altogether. Normally, they have to go to a theater first, 90-day window, and then you can start to rent it or sell it after that. Because the theaters are all shut down, this was the movie they decided to go direct to streaming. The theaters were a little upset with that because they had released other movies like The Hunt and The Invisible Woman, but those movies were in theaters to start with when the theaters were shut down. So they had tried to have a theatrical release. Now, they're skipping it all together, saying they're not even going to wait. While most theaters studios are postponing their movies until things get better. So they gave them a warning saying, we won't forget this when they announced that. You know, we know who our friends are. We know who our good partners are. So when we have to negotiate our percentages again, maybe that will reflect Universal's percentage when we renegotiate in theaters. And now Universal Studios executive just came out and said, Trolls was such a success, way beyond our expectations, going direct to video, plus we get a bigger percentage of the money and everything, that we think we're going to do video release and movie theater release at the same time. And the theaters freaked. And you can well imagine why. If they both release at the same time, even if it's a 50-50 split, the theaters are losing 50% of their money, right off the bat, right? And then they're going to say, well, but you want to have your big blockbusters in the theaters, but you want to release your smaller movies not to our theaters. Well, we got 16 theaters to fill every week and multiple times a day. Yet you're only going to bring 3 movies to the theater and you're going to put the rest on video streaming? No way. And they just came out and said, we're boycotting you. All Universal movies, we're boycotting you unless you negotiate with us for theatrical releases. We're willing to do it. Until then, you're banned. And then Regal Theaters also came out, and they didn't. A lot of people thought they were supporting Universal Theater, AMC Theaters, but what they clarified was we will do it to all theaters who don't honor the 90-day window. All movies that don't honor that 90-day window will not be released in any theaters anywhere. Art house films, anything. So there's the conflict. And I find it so funny that one of the worst, it probably would have been voted one of the worst movies of the year if it actually went to theaters. Out there from all, like, it's got nothing on Rotten Tomatoes. It's been rated horrible. Yet this is the one we're fighting over. How crazy is that?
Well, it received a false, sort of a false start because everybody is stuck at home. They've got nothing else to watch with their kids, anything new. If everything was wide open, this movie would have done very poorly.
Yeah, and that's where I kind of think the false narrative is, right? They're saying widely successful. Video streaming's our cup of gold now, you know what I mean? This is what we want to do. We're in the middle of a pandemic. We can't go outside. There's no theaters to go see anything, and there's nothing on TV. We can't watch sports. We can't go out of our house to the park or the beach or anywhere. And you think that that's your Trolls movie was so good because of video streaming. I think if theaters were open and we could watch hockey or football or anything, this movie would be getting nothing on streaming, especially the price, $20 for 24 hours US to rent for 24 hours.
If I'm not mistaken, we've had this discussion before on this channel.
We have, but now it's being actually fought.
It's real life.
Yeah. So what do you think, Paul?
Well, I think, everybody's staying at home. They need something to watch with their kids. I don't think this would have had the same results if it were anything other than a children's movie. So Universal better think about if they make a movie somewhat like Mission Impossible, say. You're going to exclude the entire audience that doesn't have whatever streaming service you have out there. Anybody who wants to go see this with their friends, they can't go with their friends to a streaming service because people don't want to go and sit in your living room and watch a movie. They want to go to the theater with their friends and watch a movie. So Universal is going to miss out big time if this is their plan.
Yeah, well, can you imagine, here comes the new Star Wars film or a new Avengers film, big theatrical release, but you get to go and watch it on your 40-inch TV for some people. It's not the same thing at all.
I think what is going to result from all of this is I think that they will go to movie theaters first, but I think that 90-day window is going to close a little bit. I think they're going to go to 30 or 60 days of advanced screenplay, and I think that's where negotiations are going to have to go.
But I'm not sure what Universal stands to gain from this. Like, why do you have to release them both at the same time?
Yeah.
Because if they release to streaming, they get a larger cut.
Well, not really, because a parent, okay, sure, but a parent has to bring their kids to the theater. So they're getting the parents' money, they're getting a ticket for each of the kids, and then maybe, I don't know, merchandising or whatever if the parent knows that their kids like it. But if you're just banking on a rental.
Well, they may have more households taking part.
See, if it's in theaters, I don't think they will. Especially a big movie. Their big franchise, Fast and the Furious 9. I would not watch it at home if it comes out. I would only want to even contemplate seeing that in the theater. Otherwise, I'll wait till 7 months, 8 months when it hits Netflix. I'm not going to pay for it.
Why would I do that? We're going to see a lot of the smaller theaters close, and I think only the bigger, better theaters, the ones that you can get yourself a beverage, an alcoholic beverage at the stand, or order a meal in your seat, and the seats that recline. It will have to be like luxury theaters that'll survive.
Except you can't. Like those theaters only showing the odd film here and there, unless there's other theaters. Like, there has to be a mix, right? It's like resorts. You have to have the luxury resort stays, you have to have the intermediate and the budget for everybody. One cannot exist with the other. Disney cannot exist on luxury travelers only. They cannot exist on budget travelers only. There has to be a mix. Well, Universal is obviously looking at their smaller releases not having to go into a theatrical release. So not releasing a movie to go into a theater and making $1 million, $2 million for the first week. And they don't have to wait that 30 days for streaming. They could just bring it out there. But, and also the Oscars nowadays are looking at movies that are streaming movies. They're not just looking at theater releases like they were before. So I think that's hurting the theaters a little bit when they used to have to be, you could rely on those art house films and stuff like that. So I'm in a position of, I really, really hope that this doesn't go to a point where half movies are going to go to theaters, half movies are going to go to video streaming, and we have to decide which ones we're going to go do or which ones we're going to see. Because quite frankly, I'll just wait for them to hit Netflix. I'll just keep Netflix, and I will not go and rent or buy a single film. And in fact, I bet you 99% of the people out there will just pirate it. And I bet you they will lose money.
Of course they'll lose money. As soon as it goes to streaming, they are up on the pirate networks.
Yeah. Yeah.
In digital, DVD for it, like it's perfect quality.
Yeah.
So as soon as that happens, they would, of course, they will lose a ton of money.
I think Universal's on the verge of destroying the industry, the movie industry. Because if this goes through, AMC is already, what, $2 billion in debt?
Yeah.
And so if they strong arm AMC and renegotiate percentages, and it's not enough for AMC to survive, and they go under. That's the biggest movie chain in the US. The smaller ones are in the world, okay? The smaller ones are already going to close because of this whole pandemic thing. So they got to really think, do we think we're going to recoup as much money as we're making now if we don't have any theaters and we're only doing it through streaming?
So in all honesty, I think this is just a negotiation tactic. Kind of, well, for one, it's for survival, and for another, it's for a better percentage. And so I think Universal is just doing this to try and negotiate either a shorter window, like Mark was saying, maybe down to 60 days, 70 days, or a better percentage, possibly. Now, some of the theater studios out there said that when they go to video streaming, if they can't go to release, a percentage of that money will go to the theater chains. That's how much they were honoring the system. Like Disney is honoring, the biggest company in the world is honoring that system. So I don't think Universal, and I've been watching a lot of, streamers on it and people talking about it, and review channels and places like Collider and, Fandom and all those stations. And they also, I don't really see where, I think AMC should back down on this because this is the wave of the future. No, I don't want it to be the wave of the future. We already have, like, I'm already bored to death of so many streaming services out there. There's 50 different streaming services. I used to have one cable. I used to get everything on one cable.
Be careful with those other channels that you watch, because they're probably all access media. So they're going to say what the studios want them to say.
Yeah, but I've been watching the independent people too, and they're all kind of on the same boat, and I completely disagree with them.
If this pandemic has shown me anything and sort of convinced me of anything, is that, quite honestly, I do not want to sit at home to watch everything I want to watch. Going to the movie theater, it's nice to just get out and spend some time out of the house doing something. And even if it's not something that you're exerting a bunch of energy, you just go for some entertainment. I miss it.
Yeah, and you know what? Movies, everyone complains, oh, movies are so expensive and everything. First of all, they'll be the same price on video streaming if you're going to rent them for $20. But it's a night out. You get together with your friends, you talk, you meet, you talk about the movie afterwards. It's a get out of the house. It's an app, and it's relatively cheap. There are very few things we can do anymore that is relatively cheap to do. And seeing a movie every couple of weeks is one of those things. And now they want to try and take that away because one studio wants to make a little more profit. Or they think they're going to make more profit. And they're using a pandemic movie release as their example of how profitable it can be. No, try doing it when everything's running smoothly. Try doing it with your blockbuster movies that make over $1 billion. Let's see how well they do on video streaming, because I guarantee you that first week they're going to make a lot of money, and then after that everyone's going to have pirated copies of it, and you won't sell another thing. Where in the theaters, movies can run for weeks and weeks and weeks, those $1 billion movies. So
I would actually be curious for them to try it, because I'd like to see what the results are.
Well, we just might see it, because if they don't come up with something soon, you're going to see Fast and the Furious 9, when it's released next year, have no theaters to go to.
Negotiation tactic to maybe get a smaller window. I have no problem with that, because the movies are in the theaters for far too long. There's nobody watching them in the 4th, 5th week.
No, the only reason they should be leaving movies in for a long, long time is that nothing else new is open, or that they're trying to reach a certain dollar figure to say they sold so much money in the theaters, like when Endgame was trying to be the #1 movie in the world. They just stretch that into week after week after week to try and catch Avatar. So yeah, I agree. If this goes the way of video streaming, I'll be very disappointed. And yeah, I groan for our world where all of our entertainment and all of our social activity is stuck on a 10-inch screen or a 6-inch screen in front of your face, instead of being able to get out in the real world, because that's what we're trying to turn it into. And I completely think that we're growing a worse society of people, because nobody knows how to interact with anybody anymore. It's all about that cell phone 2 inches from your face, or streaming online, or automatic demand. There's no social gathering anymore. And so, no, totally against it. And I hope Universal pays dearly for this. Well, let us know what you guys think down below in the comments. Maybe check out some of our other stuff coming up. And yeah, until next time, hopefully, we'll see you on the channel.